School is supposed to be safe, a place where you learn, make friends, and feel protected. But for some people, school became the setting of their worst nightmares. These are 5 terrifying true school lockdown stories, submitted by real people who lived through them. My name is Sarah, and I was 15 when this happened. It was a normal Tuesday afternoon in October 2019. I was in my sophomore English class at Riverside High in Ohio. We were reading To Kill a Mockingbird when our principal's voice crackled over the intercom. "Teachers, we are now in a code red lockdown. This is not a drill. Secure your classrooms immediately." My stomach dropped. Mrs. Henderson's face went completely white. She rushed to the door, locked it, and told us to get away from the windows. 23 of us crammed into the corner of the classroom between the teacher's desk and the back wall. Some girls started crying. My best friend, Emma, grabbed my hand so hard it hurt. We stayed silent, completely silent. You could hear every breath, every shuffle. Then we heard footsteps in the hallway. Heavy footsteps. Slow and deliberate. They stopped right outside our door. Mrs. Henderson put her finger to her lips, tears streaming down her face. The door handle jiggled. Someone was trying to get in. We heard breathing on the other side of the door. Heavy breathing, like whoever it was had been running. Then a voice, low and raspy. "I know you're in there." Emma squeezed my hand even tighter. A girl named Jessica covered her mouth to stop from screaming. The door handle jiggled again, more violently this time. Then we heard it, a scraping sound. Metal on metal, like someone was trying to pick the lock. Mrs. Henderson grabbed a pair of scissors from her desk. Her hands were shaking so badly, I didn't know if she could even hold them. The scraping continued for what felt like hours, but was probably only 2 minutes. Then silence. The footsteps moved away, down the hallway. We heard doors being tested, one after another. Bang, 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 each one getting farther away. We stayed in that corner for another 40 minutes. Finally, we heard police radios and shouting. The all clear came over the intercom. Police escorted us out of the building in single file lines. Here's what we found out later that made my blood run cold. The man who triggered the lockdown was a former student who'd been expelled 3 years earlier. He'd driven to the school with a duffel bag full of weapons and a list of names. People he wanted to hurt. My name was on that list. A security camera caught him in the hallway trying to get into our classroom. When he couldn't, he moved on to the gymnasium where he thought there'd be more people. But the gym was empty that day because of a schedule change. Police arrested him in the parking lot before he could hurt anyone. But sometimes, late at night, I still hear that voice outside my door. "I know you're in there." My name is Michael, and this happened during my senior year. It was February 14th, 2020, Valentine's Day. I remember because we were having a party in biology class. Our regular teacher, Mr. Patterson, was out sick. We had a substitute, a guy none of us had ever seen before. He introduced himself as Mr. Carlisle. Mid-40s, average height, thick glasses. Nothing particularly memorable about him except he kept staring at the door, like he was waiting for something. About 20 minutes into class, the lockdown alarm started blaring. But here's the thing. Mr. Carlisle didn't look surprised. He didn't look scared. He looked relieved. "Everyone away from the windows," he said calmly. Too calmly. We followed the protocol. Lights off, door locked, huddled in the corner. But Mr. Carlisle didn't join us. He stood by the door, looking through the small window into the hallway. "Sir, you need to get away from the door," my friend Tyler whispered. Mr. Carlisle didn't respond. He just kept watching. Then he unlocked the door. "Let that sink in. What are you doing?" I asked, my voice shaking. He turned to look at us, and his expression. God, his expression was wrong. Like he was wearing a mask of a human face. "The person who called in this lockdown," he said slowly, "is looking for someone in this room." The door opened. A woman walked in. She was wearing a long black coat, her hair covering most of her face. She looked directly at us, then at Mr. Carlyle. "Is he here?" she asked. "Back corner," Mr. Carlyle replied. She started walking toward us. That's when I noticed her right hand was inside her coat pocket, gripping something. My classmate Amanda started crying. The woman stopped in front of us and pointed at Tyler. "You," she said. "Come with me." Tyler looked like he was going to pass out. "I don't know you," he whispered. "You killed my daughter," she said, her voice breaking. "Hit and run. December 16th. You left her on the side of the road like garbage." I remembered that date. There was a hit-and-run accident near our school. A girl from middle school died. They never found the driver. Tyler's face went gray. That wasn't. I didn't mean. The woman pulled her hand from her pocket. We all flinched, expecting a weapon. But it wasn't a weapon. It was a photo of a young girl, maybe 13, with braces and a bright smile. Her name was Sophie. The woman sobbed. She was my everything. That's when the real police burst in. Turns out, Mr. Carlyle wasn't a substitute teacher at all. He was the woman's brother. They'd planned this together. The lockdown was fake, called in by them to get into the school without suspicion. Tyler confessed everything. He'd been driving his older brother's car without a license. Hit Sophie and panicked. Never told anyone. The woman and Mr. Carlyle were arrested. Tyler was charged with vehicular manslaughter and hit and run. But here's what haunts me. When the police were escorting them out, the woman looked back at our classroom and smiled. Not a sad smile, not a vengeful smile, a satisfied smile. She got what she came for. She made him confess. And she did it by making us all believe we were going to die. I still don't know if she's a hero or a monster. My name is Jennifer, and I was 12 when I realized drills could kill you. It was April 2018, just after lunch. I was in 7th grade history class when Principal Morrison announced a lockdown drill over the intercom. We'd done these drills dozens of times. Everyone groaned. We were used to the routine. But this time, something felt off. Our teacher, Ms. Rodriguez, locked the door and turned off the lights like always. We sat in our designated corner. But as the minutes passed, I noticed Ms. Rodriguez checking her phone. Her face got paler and paler. "Ms. Rodriguez," I whispered, "are you okay?" She looked at me with terrified eyes. "This isn't a drill," she mouthed silently. My heart started pounding. What did she mean? The announcement said it was a drill. But then I remembered something my dad, who's a police officer, once told me. If it's a real lockdown, they'll never announce it as a drill. Too much panic. So why did they announce it as a drill? Ms. Rodriguez's phone buzzed. She read something, and her hand flew to her mouth. Tears started falling. She showed her screen to our class aide, Mrs. Chun, who immediately started herding us further into the corner. Then we heard it. Gunshots. Not in the hallway, somewhere distant. Maybe the other side of the school. But unmistakable. Pop, pop, pop. Some kids started crying. Others were frozen. I couldn't breathe. The announcement said it was a drill. Why would there be gunshots during a drill? Ms. Rodriguez was texting frantically. Then she whispered to Mrs. Chun, who nodded and opened the supply closet. She started moving boxes aside, revealing a crawl space. A small opening in the wall I'd never noticed before. Everyone. In. Now. Ms. Rodriguez's voice was barely audible, but firm. One by one, we climbed into the crawl space. It was dark, dusty, and cramped. 28 of us pressed together in a space meant for storage. The last person in was Ms. Rodriguez. She pulled the boxes back to hide the opening and climbed in with us. We waited in complete darkness. Someone was having a panic attack. I could hear them hyperventilating. My friend David was praying under his breath. Then we heard footsteps in our classroom. Heavy boots. Multiple people. A flashlight beam swept under the closet door. Clear, a voice said. Not a familiar voice. Not a teacher or administrator. More footsteps. They were checking everywhere. We heard desks being moved. Cabinets opening. They were searching for something or someone. Then the closet door opened. I stopped breathing. We all stopped breathing. Light flooded in. Footsteps right in front of our hiding spot. If they moved those boxes, we'd be found. Anything. Another voice called from the classroom. Nah, just supplies. Let's keep moving. The closet door closed. Footsteps faded, but we stayed hidden for another hour. Silent, terrified. When police finally found us, we learned the truth. A parent, going through a custody battle, had stormed the school with a weapon looking for his kids, who were in the elementary wing. The principal announced a drill to avoid widespread panic while police were already on their way. The gunshots we heard, warning shots fired by a school security officer to stop the man from reaching the elementary classrooms. We were never in direct danger, but Ms. Rodriguez knew. She got a text from the principal. Real threat. Hide them. 3 kids from our school saw the armed parent in the hallway. They thought it was part of the drill, and they waved at him. He ignored them and kept moving. He was caught before reaching his kids. But here's what terrifies me. If those 3 kids had been his kids, would they have waved? Would they have approached him thinking it was part of the drill? The announcement that it was a drill might have saved some lives by preventing panic, but it could have cost others by making kids drop their guard. I still don't know if calling it a drill was the right choice. All I know is, I never felt safe at school again. My name is Joseph, and I should have listened to the janitor. It was November 2021. I was a freshman at Lincoln High in Washington State. There was this janitor, Mr. Peterson, who'd worked at our school for over 30 years. Everyone knew him. Nice guy, always smiling, always had candy in his pockets for students. But one day, he stopped smiling. It was a Friday afternoon. I was staying late for chess club. The halls were mostly empty. I saw Mr. Peterson mopping the floor near the science wing, and when he saw me, his expression changed. He looked scared. "Joseph," he said, walking up to me quickly. "You need to leave. Now." "What? Why?" "Please," he whispered, looking around nervously. "Just go home. Don't come to school Monday. Tell your parents you're sick. Just don't come." I thought he was joking. "Mr. Peterson, what are you talking about?" He grabbed my arm, his grip surprisingly strong. I heard something. In the boiler room. People talking. They're planning something for Monday. "Please, Joseph. I don't know who to trust. Just stay home." Before I could respond, he let go and walked away quickly, his mop bucket rattling behind him. I went to chess club, but I couldn't focus. Mr. Peterson's warning kept replaying in my mind. He seemed genuinely terrified. When I got home, I told my parents. They thought he might be having mental health issues, but agreed to let me stay home Monday just in case. Monday morning, I was home watching TV when my phone exploded with messages. Something was happening at school. A lockdown. A real one. I turned on the news. There was a live helicopter feed of my school. Police cars everywhere. SWAT teams. My stomach dropped. According to the news, 2 former students had entered the school through the loading dock area, near the boiler room, armed with knives and homemade explosives. They planned to detonate the explosives in the cafeteria during lunch, but they never made it to the cafeteria because Mr. Peterson had locked them in a boiler room and called the police. Mr. Peterson knew. He'd overheard them planning it on Friday when they broke in to hide their weapons. He didn't know who they were, couldn't see their faces, but he knew something terrible was going to happen. He tried to warn students he recognized. Me, a few others. But he couldn't warn everyone without tipping off the attackers. So he set a trap. He waited for them to return Monday morning to retrieve their weapons. And when they entered the boiler room, he locked the heavy metal door from the outside, trapped them inside, and called 911. The police arrested them, found detailed plans, manifests of names, everything. Mr. Peterson saved hundreds of lives. But here's the part that haunts me. When police reviewed the security footage, they discovered something chilling. The two attackers had been hiding in school over the weekend, in the ceiling crawlspace above the gym. They'd been there the whole time, watching, waiting. On Saturday, when the school was hosting a basketball game with over 300 people in attendance, one of them had climbed down from the ceiling and walked through the hallways. On camera, bold as day, he was wearing a school maintenance uniform, carrying a toolbox, blending in perfectly. No one stopped him. No one questioned him. He could have done anything that night, but he stuck to the plan. Monday, cafeteria, maximum casualties. Mr. Peterson didn't just save us from the attack. He saved us from something much worse. The knowledge that evil had been walking among us for days, and we had no idea. Mr. Peterson retired the next month, said he couldn't work there anymore. At his retirement party, he told me something I'll never forget. Joseph, I couldn't save everyone, but I saved you, and that has to be enough. I think about that a lot. The randomness of survival. If I hadn't stayed late for chess club, if Mr. Peterson hadn't seen me, if I hadn't listened to his warning, I'd have been in the cafeteria, just like 400 other students. Sometimes survival is just being in the right place when the right person decides to save you. My name is Ashley, and my school had a lockdown that technically never ended. It was March 2022. I was a junior at Meadowbrook High in Colorado. It was a Wednesday morning, first period. I was in AP Chemistry when the lockdown alarm started. Standard procedure. Lights off. Door locked. Corner huddle. But this time, the alarm didn't stop. It just kept blaring, and blaring, and blaring. After 15 minutes, my ears were ringing. Mr. Jacobson, our teacher, tried to turn off the lights, but they wouldn't turn off. He tried his phone. No signal. None of US could get a signal. Something's wrong with the system, he muttered. Then the intercom crackled. Static. Then Principal Hayes' voice, but wrong. Distorted. Like it was being played through a bad speaker. Students, remain doors locked. Help us. More static. Then silence. We waited and waited. The alarm kept blaring. 1 hour passed. 2 hours. No all clear. No updates. No communication. Some students started panicking. Emily was crying. Brandon was banging on the door, screaming for help. Mr. Jacobson tried to keep us calm, but I could see the fear in his eyes. Then the alarm stopped. Sudden silence. It was almost worse than the noise. We heard footsteps in the hallway. Lots of them. Running. But not like police running. Like people fleeing. Mr. Jacobson looked through the door window and went completely white. Get back, he whispered. Everyone. Away from the door. Now, what is it? I asked. There's something wrong with the people out there. Before I could ask what he meant, someone, or something, slammed into our door. Hard. The whole frame shook. Then another impact. And another. Like someone was trying to break through. Through the small window, I caught a glimpse. It was Mrs. Chun, the librarian. But her face looked wrong. Twisted. Her eyes were vacant. She was slamming herself into the door over and over, not reacting to the pain. Then she stopped. Turned. Walked away like nothing happened. What the hell was that? Brandon whispered. Mr. Jacobson didn't answer. He was shaking. We waited another hour. Finally, Mr. Jacobson made a decision. We can't stay here forever. We're going to the exits. Stay together. Stay quiet. He unlocked the door. We moved as a group into the hallway. The school was a disaster. Papers everywhere. Lockers open. lights flickering, and it was completely silent except for our footsteps. We turned a corner and saw them, a group of students and teachers standing in the middle of the hallway, completely still, facing the walls, not moving, not speaking. "Hello," Mr. Jacobson called out. No response. They didn't even turn around. We moved past them carefully. As we did, I looked at their faces. Their eyes were open but empty, like nobody was home. We found an exit. Mr. Jacobson pushed the door open and nothing. Just fog. Thick, gray fog so dense we couldn't see more than 3 feet ahead. "Where are the parking lots?" Emily asked. They should have been right there, but there was only fog. Mr. Jacobson stepped outside. "Hello? Is anyone out here? Police? Anyone?" Silence. Just nothing. He stepped back inside. "We're not leaving. Not until we know what's happening." We went to the main office. Maybe we could find a working phone, a radio, anything. The office was empty. Computers were on, but frozen, showing the same image on every screen, our school. Aerial view, with a date stamp. March 15th, 2023. 1 year in the future. "That's impossible," Mr. Jacobson said. "Today is March 15th, 2022. But every clock in the office showed the same thing. March 15th, 2023. We searched the school for answers. Found more people standing still, facing walls. Found classrooms where lessons were half finished on the boards, like everyone just vanished mid-sentence. And then we found the gym. The entire student body was there. Hundreds of students, all standing in perfect rows, facing forward, eyes open, not moving. "Ashley," a voice said behind me. I turned. It was my best friend, Kira, but her eyes vacant, empty. "Kira, what's happening?" "The lockdown never ended, Ashley," she said in a monotone voice. "We're still here. We've always been here. And now you are too." That's when I woke up, in my bed, at home. It was March 15th, 2022, Wednesday morning. My alarm was going off. Time for school. I told my parents about the nightmare. They laughed it off, said I'd been watching too many horror movies. I almost believed them, almost convinced myself it was just a dream. But when I got to school that morning, first period, AP Chemistry, Mr. Jacobson was writing on the board. Everything was normal, until the lockdown alarm started. And I knew exactly what was going to happen, because I'd already lived it. This is my third loop. The same day, over and over. The alarm, the footsteps, the people facing the walls, the fog, the gym, Kira telling me I'm trapped. Then I wake up, and it's March 15th, 2022 again. I've tried everything. Staying home, running, calling for help before it starts. Nothing changes. The loop always resets at the gym. I'm starting to see other students who remember. Their eyes aren't vacant like the others. They're terrified, like me. We're all stuck in the same day, the same lockdown. If you're reading this, if somehow this message gets out, please. Something happened at Meadowbrook High on March 15th, 2022. Something that trapped us in time. We're still here. We've always been here. And if you ever hear about a lockdown drill at your school, pay attention to the date, because we thought it was just a drill too. And now we can never leave. Those were 5 terrifying true school lockdown stories, submitted by real people, real experiences, real fear. Remember, the next time you hear that alarm at school, it might not be a drill. If you have a scary story you'd like to share, send it to me through the link in the description. And if you enjoyed these stories, hit that like button and subscribe for more terrifying true tales. Until next time, stay safe and remember, sometimes the scariest part isn't the lockdown itself. It's what happens when the doors finally unlock.